Hello, everyone, and welcome to Moonride. This is my live stream. I'm just going to give you guys a moment to log in here and also tell you some great names people came up for Donald Trump. Let's see. Um, let's see. Stephanie V, Benedict Donald, and I like Trader Tots. This seems especially true to me. Look, you guys keep going with those names. I have to tell you honestly, at just the soul level, I feel like something just changed. That something about these recent horrific attacks, and I just don't want to make light of those at all. But something about that, just something clicked. You know, we knew who the new real danger is, I think, in this society. So you know, I want you guys to at least take some heart out of this. I know it's not pleasant to watch. Yeah, my real concern right now is not whether Don will win. I don't think that he can win right now. I think even the senators are starting to abandon ship. But whether actually we'll have a fair election, I think that's a good question. Donald Trump has already said he'll take help from anyone that gives it, you know, that helps him. And of course, we know Moscow Mitch's story, right? Now, if you just join me, the deal with the live reading is I ask people to make a $7 donation to any cause, any progressive cause, and especially any cause that will help the kids at the border. I would include any cause that supports gun control initiatives. So if you put $7 into any one of these organizations, I don't care what they are, as long as they're going for these goals of ending gun violence in the United States, protecting the rights of minorities, especially at the border, any of those goals, then I would be happy to do a reading for me. Just send me a message. Maybe you can tell me who you donated to, because it's really nice to see whether you donated to the ACLU or whatever organization it is. And just tell me and write your question. Try to make your question not too complicated, because sometimes it's so detailed that I'll get to an answer, which will just be no. Not really helpful to you. So just also make it political. Don't make it about your personal life, because if that happens, I'm not going to do this live reading. I don't want to talk about your details live. If you do ever want a reading one-on-one, just look at my website, which I will attach. I usually attach them at the bottom, at my website and my Patreon page. And just let me know if you'd like a live reading. Or sorry, a one-on-one reading. So today, let's see. Somebody also sent me a really good hashtag for Donald, and that is a time to resign. And forgive me if I don't remember who sent that to me. You know who you are. But time to resign is a pretty awesome hashtag. Let's see. Now, I've got a couple questions today, and these may have been questions you sent a week and a half ago, and I missed. So my apologies if I did that. The first question is about Geoffrey Berman, and he's the Attorney General for the Southern District of New York. Another reader apparently kept seeing him as key to fingering Donald Trump for embezzlement. This comes from Irene in Brooklyn, New York, this question. So I don't know who Geoffrey Berman is specifically, because I'm not a New Yorker. I know them. I know people are taking a look at Trump's finances, but let's see about this Berman character, see what he's doing. Aha, okay, you know the cool thing that I see, like a sort of cog, you know, if you imagine like the workings of a clock, the workings of a clock, he is one of those turning the cog, right? So I would say he is important, but he is not alone. Look, one, again, very positive feeling that I have is there are people out there who are connecting secretly and making sure that some of the evidence is preserved until Barr is gone and we can actually go for, you know, these people, go after these criminals. Right now, it's not safe to do that. You know, Trump will just dangle promotion, you know, things over people. He'll make threats, whatever he needs to do. So it's not, America is not really in a great position to get more information about Trump. It's just a bad situation. because Trump will manipulate that information. He'll prevent people from coming forward. Now, we see what happened with the Epstein case. So there are people there just waiting for the right time and coordinating these efforts. Again, it's clicking. It will take time. It won't happen in the pace that we want it to. But, keep in mind, everyone, the ruckus, the noise, the things that we're making are preventing Trump from doing more horrible things, right? So it's not like we should just give up now or something like that. I really feel like we have to hold this in our heart and keep moving forward with this, keep trying to do the right thing for all of those people and keep fighting, right? But at the same time, understand that it looks like we're starting to win, right? It's become really clear what the consequences of Trump are. So again, take heart if this helps you. Understand that, people are noticing, and America is the country where most of the people are starting to say, look, this is serious. This isn't just talk. Now, most people are becoming more aware of this, and they're starting to go against Trump. Let's see. And also understand that we're all going through a major transformation. Spiritually, something is happening. I don't even know what it is, you guys. People talk to me about it, all these planets in retrograde. But I'm telling you, I am being personally affected by this. Like I wake up every morning at 3 o'clock in the morning and meditate for a half hour. I don't know what is entering my body at 3 a.m., but something's going on. I don't do that. I never wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. And half an hour I meditate, then it goes away and go back to sleep. Who knows what that is? But I feel like something is changing. Like this is the key moment. Like it's almost like we're over the difficult portion. All right. So you might be feeling that. And if there's some element of frustration, understand that at the same time a door is closing, a new door is opening. My suggestion is go to your spirituality. Just go to whatever leads you spiritually. If it leads you to join some groups, some events, if it leads you just to have heart-to-heart conversation with your best friend, go there. That will really help you in these troubled times. You should not do this alone. I have many people contacting me, and every single time it's like they just feel very alone, and I don't blame them for this feeling. They may live in a totally conservative community where everybody shuns them. It's a very, very difficult place to be. Whatever you can do to break out of that and to meet people that make you feel better, that will be the most useful thing. Join any group. If you've got any kind of meetups where you look at the meetups and one starts looking interesting to you, go do it. Go to political events that make you feel empowered. Whatever helps, do it. Don't try to do this alone. That is just it's just almost impossible to do. Like you'll survive, but it'll be so much work. So second question here is, this is actually from Linda, and she's wondering about the missing kids at the border, right? So let's see. Hi, everyone. Sorry, I forgot to say hello to you, right? It looks like we're doing pretty good with the trolls. Thanks, nice work. Yeah. Okay, well, that one's a little bit troubling. Try not to yell and swear at people on my channel or I'm going to get rid of you. All right. So next question is kids at the border. Kids at the border. Yeah, it's a big picture thing. There's a lot of kids at the border. Her question is, she's really afraid that some of those kids have been, kidnapped and worse. Yeah, and I don't know what to say in this regard, but I think that some of this has happened. That these kids have been kidnapped. Many of the children have been sort of I think placed with relatives. I'm getting like 95% of those kids have been placed with relatives. So I feel good about them, but there are some that have not. And it's really terrible sometimes to do this job because you can just get a really bad feeling about what happened to some of those people. Look, we all got to keep up the pressure on our government. Don't forget with these distractions, with the shootings and stuff. We got to keep applying the pressure. You got to keep going to the border, keep protesting the border, keep hounding anybody who's an official, demand that the kids are returned, demand that they find them. Even though a judge has decided that they must stop child separations, they just worked around that and did it anyway, so we have to keep applying pressure. So Spirit, are we going to see anything specific about these kids? It's funny because I see one child in particular, and she's very, wearing a pink dress. She just looks like an adorable kid, and she is pointing and she is showing me that there are some people who have done some really bad things. So are we going to find this out? I'm just asking this little girl what she says. She's pointing. Somebody in a key position has done something to her that is separated her from her family illegally or something like this or worse. And she's pointing to them and she's putting her hands on her hips and she's saying, we need to make this connection. We need to find out who is responsible for these kids that are missing now. And she's saying, eventually we're going to figure that out and we're going to put them in jail. Mm-hmm. So amazing. This child is just like, look, I'm a child, but I'm strong, and I'm gonna be strong for the situation. Almost like she's sort of placed on the earth to expose what's going on. And she knows this, she's got this mission. She might be a symbolic of many children, but it could be just a child. And she keeps pointing and she's like, I know who it is. And once you find me, I'm going to talk. So I hope everybody, will you spend a moment again, just to send your love to these people who have been separated from their kids or their parents, just to, imagine them and just send your love to them. It really helps. So let's try the next question. And the next question is from Charlene. And she asked about Samantha Markle. And she said that Samantha's been really quiet. I think, is Samantha Markle, I don't know who she is. Is she the sister? So I'm just going to ask Spirit, which one is Samantha? Is Samantha the one who got married to her? Right. Let's see. I'm not so totally sure here. I'm going to go look up Samantha. Oh yeah, it is. That's Megan. Gosh, there's some really nasty stuff about these people. Oh yeah, so she is the sister. Yeah, okay. And she's been relatively quiet. So my one advice, you guys, is never marry somebody in the royal family. It doesn't work out well. I mean, I admire Ms. Markle for doing it, but man, I wouldn't touch that. I don't care what palace you give me. No way. Let's see, Ms. Markle. And I admire her for doing it. I think that, many of my clients say she's very symbolic for me. Like, I find that she's, a woman of color breaking through into the royal family. They're just like, hey, that's great. And I got to say, yeah, she shows us also, Prince Harry is broad-minded and knows who he loves, and that's pretty awesome. I mean, I think they're a pretty rockin' couple. I don't know anything about them, but the fact that they did what they did. Yeah, one thing that I get is when she put that crown on, she lost something. Like, she cried when she put that crown on. Something happened, like the family that she's from, there was a good deal that was lost in it. And very symbolic in the sense that she sort of moved away from these problems that were keeping her down. And I gotta say, like, I think there's a rivalry between the sisters, but the sister Samantha, it seems just like she finally got it. She finally is like, what I'm doing is wrong. And I think she was getting some significant pushback from a lot of people like, hey, you're just making a fool of yourself by doing this. Yeah, she always hated her sister. They always fought. She was always envious of her sister. Her sister was always, in her mind, prettier and smarter and whatever. So that's why, just a straight up resentment. Maybe she's coming to terms with this, that she's realizing that she was wrong. I actually get a positive turn where she's looking inside of herself. So, we can give her some credit. I actually see the Markle princess, if we can call her that, is looking pretty good. She seems fairly happy right now, despite every eye looking upon her. She seems pretty awesome. Let's see. Anything else that she's going to say? She's very happy with her child. I see her happily. It's like almost one of those things where she's like, this is all I wanted, was just this happy family and this child. She's still very much in love with her husband. And I get from the prince that he's, still pretty happy with her. He has a lot of family problems right now. And it's funny because here he is, a prince. You just assume that everybody's cool, and it's not like you need to look for a job or anything. But he's got a lot of family problems. The weight of his family is really heavy. And I get the feeling he actually turns to Markle for some relief. He's just like, oh, great, a normal person who can, has that normal life experiences, who can give me advice. And for a moment, they can close the door and just be together and have a normal relationship and not be a prince and princess. That's like, it's a big relief for this guy who I feel pretty good at. Okay, now what are you doing now? I don't know why, but I see the prince with one of those boogie boards, And I get it. So that's like what I used to do in California. I was riding my boogie board at 13, and I had so much fun doing that. And that's kind of what I get from him, is that he's just enjoying some of the things that he can do that are just normal people things that, it'd be great if nobody took a photograph of him at every second. He's like enjoying normal stuff. Some people are worried about his fidelity. It's pretty tough when you're a prince and you can have anybody you want, right? But he doesn't seem that motivated in those directions. I'd say that there's a great temptation there, but he kind of plays it off, and he's just like, well, it's almost like when you can have it all, you don't necessarily want it all. You just want simple stuff. That's how I get out of him. Never assume that this is not a curse. Being a prince and having everybody watch you, being the son of Diana, it's a curse. It is just like, you might think the Kennedys have this glamorous life. You would never want to live that life. It's just so fraught. It's just so fraught. You don't want those lives. So I'm pretty good about these sisters. I think one is learning a lesson and the other is having some pleasure. She seems to be doing pretty well. Last question here is from Janice. And she's wondering about an interim president. Will it be Pence, right? And by the way, she sent this money to the border. That is Janice has. And let's see what else we get for this. Okay, will there be an interim president? It just Pence does come up, but I get a short time. let's come back to this question. And the question is, are we going to impeach? That's the real question, because we're not going to have an interim president if he is not impeached. So, Spirit, is he going to be impeached? Okay, what's that mean? There's a lot of energy around impeachment, a lot of energy, like a tornado energy. And it's extremely dangerous. So understand this impeachment process. To Pelosi's credit, it is very, very, very dangerous. It's dangerous for the nation. It's dangerous because of the way some people will react. It's very, very dangerous. So I know we all, most of us want impeachment, but tread lightly here. Very, understand that leaders know a bit more about the situation than we do. They're the ones getting death threats. So the tornado's coming. It's coming close to the White House, very close to the White House. It's almost like the tornado's there, and it's almost like starting to circle the White House, but it's only circling like one side of it, which could mean to me like the Democrats are going to get close, really very close to impeachment. But I'm not sure that they are going to do it. Or maybe they'll kick up the dust and they'll have the process. But I don't get that it's going to be completed. I have always seen that they ask, the Republican Party asks Trump to leave. Now, understand when a person is making predictions, maybe they're lucky if they're 80% correct. That would be, great, because things will change before this election. Anything can happen. But this is what I get right now. It's funny because the tornado is almost making like a U shape. So if this is the White House, it's sort of almost making a U shape. It's almost like the shape of a wine glass, which, gosh, that's interesting. I don't know what that means. So, Spirit, tell me more about this impeachment. I think a lot of people will be involved in the impeachment hearings. And technically, we can say that these hearings are going on right now. They're still investigating. They're not really hearings, but that's kind of wordplay. I get the, let's see, what is her name? Hicks. It's this woman Hicks. She's going to get involved in this in some level. Yeah, don't be surprised if you see that Hicks woman, if you see her break down on stage, on when she's being asked questions. I see her making public testimony again. Okay, so it's all but impeachment. That's kind of what I get. It's all but the actual act of taking him out of the office. It's just this information keeps coming in where there's more and more and more stuff to impeach him on. Understand that we might not want to complete impeachment. It might be preferable if we do everything except actually vote, and then there's this election, right? It might work out better because then we don't have to give Trump a win. There's all these angry people out there who are kind of being kept at bay. As more information comes in, more trials come in, more stuff is made public. But I keep getting this. I keep getting McConnell going in there and saying, Trump, you've got to go. You've got to leave. We're gonna declare you crazy if you don't get out. Basically, I get that their political prospects, the Republicans' political prospects, while Trump is there, are very dim. They don't want him. They don't want him there. They don't want him there now. So imagine in 6 months when all this terrible stuff, the consequences, the economic consequences, the international trade consequences, the consequences of Trump's bigotry, more shootings, whatever's going to happen, all that stuff. This is just the beginning of a year and a half of deterioration, of feeling the effects of Trump and the Republican policy, right? And we might sit here and argue the details of Trump. Look, this gun policy, the fact that everybody can have a gun and go shoot an AK-47 or AR-17 or whatever these guns are, that has been a Republican problem for decades, right? So it's not just Trump. It is their party has become the party of mass shootings. So it's just not going to do well for them. Nothing's going to suit them. Even if there's no more terrible things that happen, the results of the past are coming before us. Environmental problems, I do get that too. Everything's just Trump is not going to be a winning brand that the Republicans want to endorse. And you might think of McConnell being this little turtle and looking wimpy. McConnell is no dum-dum. He's survived a long time for a reason. And he knows how to survive this time around. If he wants his place in the Senate, he is going to have to ask Trump to leave, period. So they can disavow him. Lindsey Graham too. And a couple other senators are there. And I always see the same thing. They're there, there's a hallway. Trump is told to leave. He like breaks things in the hallway. Like he takes Priceless items and smashes them. And like literally like guys are dragging him out of there because he's losing his mind and breaking, famous works of art because that's who he is. He's just throwing a total temper tantrum and like a person who needs to be locked up because they've lost their mind. And then a car pulls up. Trump doesn't want to get in, and they force him in. And it's like a white wagon, where they take you to the insane asylum. That is what I see for him. And he's like, no way, I'm not getting in there. And McConnell's like, okay, boys. Don't imagine that Trump has all the power. There are plenty of Republicans who have the power here, pulling little strings behind him. And they have the power to go to the people who are in his cabinet and say, he's crazy, and you're going to do this. You're going to declare him crazy. And if you don't, there will be consequences for you guys too. So, do y'all want to go to prison? Because all of you are criminals. You want to lose any chance of the Republicans ever winning again? Well, you do what I tell you, period. Chuck Grassley is there. These guys, these conservative senators, are really upset. This is such a stupid thing. Here they had this golden opportunity. They could have accomplished all of their things on their agenda, and nothing was accomplished because Trump undermined everything with his stupid personality, with his stupid race baiting. They're like, all he had to do was shut up. You had one job, and that is just to keep quiet, and you couldn't do it. Okay. So, it could be something like we have a Pence for a week or two. I don't know how this is all going to work. I think they might literally replace Trump before the election. Maybe replace him with Pence. Why, Spirit? What's going to happen? Why is it so bad that they replace Trump? Military stuff. Trump cannot handle international dealings. Something dramatic is going to happen. There's a plane being shot at. I think it's an American plane. Somebody's shooting at it, and they seem to, I guess they do hit it. At first they were missing, but I think they hit one of our planes and take it down. And Trump just can't manage. He can't create a coalition. We're more and more vulnerable under Trump because he's totally indecisive. He's not the strongman that he appears to be. It's humiliating for the Republican Party to see this happen and our place in the world just descending. Believe me, there are Republicans who hate Trump to the very core of their being. They hate him. And they blame him for everything that's going wrong. They should have, had a great economy, except Trump blew it. They should have done all these things. They could have been the next party for the next 20 years, but some dumb Trump, exposed their hand and said what they're really like. Stupid creep. So yeah, ultimately, I think that Pence could have the power for a couple of weeks, a short time. Let's see about this election. Yeah, I always get Elizabeth Warren, right? Again, anything could change, but I always get Warren. And I always get Sanders kind of floating around in the background. And I don't know if it's like Sanders' ideas or he's kind of there or he's vice, I don't know what it is. But I always see Warren. She might be just symbolic of our views, but I get the feeling it really is her. And she's got a real advantage. One other thing that might be a silver lining for everyone is never would we have somebody like Elizabeth Warren be a serious candidate. This is a window that is open up. Trump is so bad that people actually who are sort of in the center are like, well, all right, I'm willing to support this woman. Maybe people who are kind of sexist are like, you know what? At this point, I couldn't care anybody to defeat Trump. I'm not going for the boy this time. I will go for the girl. I have in the past, I've been a teacher. And I watched how my students, they're 8-year-olds, how they acted. And boys would always vote for the boy, no matter what boy, even if they hated him. Girls would always compete with each other, and they would never support another girl, even if they liked her. It's this weird thing that I don't know why at least young children are like that. Boys will always support a boy. And I'm hoping that this is the time in our world where things are starting to change. You just vote for somebody because they're good. And, Warren is a space where she does have these solutions. She really does have an answer for every question. None of her arguments are personal. He's fat. She's stupid. I hate her. None of them are those kinds of arguments. This is a real window where we can get beyond the propaganda and actually have a discussion of ideas. She is completely prepared to do that. So is Sanders. So even a number of people on the left, Buttigieg, all those people are well-spoken. I may not agree with all of them because they're not as progressive as I am, but all of them are prepared to fight. They look like they can win against Trump. Not so sure about Biden, but all of them are articulate and they can speak. And, at least Biden is reacting and saying something, which is going to be better than anything that Trump's appointee, if it's Pence, he's not going to have any of the charisma to offer them. He's just going to look uncomfortable on stage. Anything more about this? It's funny because I do see a circle, and I'm seeing circles a lot these days. And it's almost like things come back around. Things come back around to haunt them. If Trump is on stage debating, that's going to be after 4 years of his policies, which are, pretty much a disaster, especially if the economy changes, and it seems to be changing. That's going to be a tough one. For him to argue anything, it's really easy to argue when you haven't done anything because you can't be proven that you've done anything wrong. Although, of course, if we look closer at Trump, we found a few things wrong. But he's not going to have that honeymoon that he had with Hillary, who had all that baggage. I still see Warren. So I'm just going to look at her. Warren, are you going to win? I often, though, if this is what's ambiguous for me about Warren, I often see her shedding a tear. I don't quite understand what that means. Why is she shedding a tear? It feels like she's winning. Spirit, why is she shedding a tear? I actually kind of feel like it's just her humanity coming through. It's just her humanity. And that is going to move people. She cares about people. Donald Trump has not said one word about the victims of these crimes. Never said one word about Epstein's victims, not a word of sympathy or understanding, because, let's face it, he's not capable of that. Anything else that we need to know about the election? Okay, now I'm seeing Elizabeth Warren with a really big umbrella. And you know how sometimes they have those huge umbrellas like in India? I don't know, I don't really know what that means, but they're like these huge umbrellas and they seem almost like permanent. Maybe you'd hold them over a king. She's holding that over herself. So I think that she's going to bring maybe a lot of people into this sphere. And the umbrella also shields her a little bit. So I'm still very hopeful. Yeah, I understand, everybody, that it'd be a little bit inappropriate for me, even if I truly believed that Warren were president, no question. I probably would hesitate to say so because A, I could be wrong, and B, we want everybody to be motivated to go out and vote. At this time, I am not certain that Warren will win. I see her often in the position in this role. She looks good to me in this role, but I don't know what's going to happen. It looks fairly good, but I think it's a little bit too early to tell now. Okay, let's see. Wow. Okay, guys, that's a lot of questions. Yeah, who's she thinking about for her VP? I'm just going to jump to your questions here, you guys. I have a little bit of time, maybe 5 more minutes, and I will just light on whatever question I see and answer it, since we have a fairly light week this week for questions. Let's see. Who will she choose? Who will Warren choose? So one more time, let's just clear this all out here. Who will Warren choose? I don't think she's made her decision yet. She is thinking of a couple of people. I think she is thinking of Buttigieg and Harris. And, Bernie, again, he's just kind of floating around. I don't really know what his role is. It almost seems like he's in a sort of superior role. But at the same time, it's very vague and it's not really obvious where he is in this hierarchy of things. He's just sort of floating up there. So once in spirit, any ideas? Who will Warren choose? The strongest image I get is Buttigieg. I'm not sure it's decided yet, but that's the strongest image I get. To try to balance out the ticket, try to bring in some moderate types. And the youth, right? And, he is gay, so in a sense, he's a minority. That certainly will draw people in. Harris is still there, though. She might have some other governmental role. So what is Bernie Sanders' role? I just see him organizing different groups of people. It's sort of like he's at the top of the hierarchy, so maybe he is the candidate, and maybe Warren is the vice president or something. This isn't totally clear, because Warren always comes up more, stronger than Bernie, actually. But he could be the running mate too. It might be that he's running and she's the VP. I'm not so sure about this. I think we will know maybe 6 months before the election. It'll be a lot clearer. At least for me, it will be clearer. All right, let's just try one more. Biden is Secretary of State, Special Envoy, could be. Yeah, I'm down with Kamala Harris for AG. Okay, I would not mess with her. Good question. Will Trump's trip to El Paso be an epic fail? Okay, I'm going to try to get my personal feelings out of the way here. Hi, guys. How are you? Good to see you. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Melody. Hello, Jen. Yeah. Oh, and Melania. These are great questions. So let's just focus. Okay, this might have to be my last question here. The question is, will this trip be a disaster for Trump? And I'll just like keep it open. What will happen when Trump goes down to El Paso? Ooh, it's not looking great for him, man. A lot of really angry people. It'll just piss off people more. Yeah, I mean, I know he thinks it'll make things a little bit better. It'll just make it worse. Because when he goes down to these events, he's always so out of touch. He has no idea what it's like to be a normal, regular person who has to, pay their way through college. So he gets there and he just, whatever he says, it's going to be blame somebody else, Hillary's emails, whatever it's going to be. And no one is going to feel assuaged. No one is going to feel like he addressed them. No one's going to feel like he's there out of his heart. They're going to think that he's there because it's politically, operable. Ooh, I see this crowd getting so mad. And I see that people are saying something back to him, right? This is a crowd that he'll have difficulty controlling, that they won't just screen everybody and keep all the Democrats, all the reporters out. This is a little bit more direct address. Hmm. 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 And be careful when you go. If you go down to Texas and you're protesting Trump, please be very careful. There are elements of our society that will do it again. They will target people. There are, Russian agents whose, the best thing that they could do is create more chaos, either by shooting a protester or shooting Trump. I don't think that they will be able to shoot Trump because he's got so much security. I don't think they will be able to shoot individuals within that protest. But the protest might become so large that it's actually difficult for the police to handle. So be careful. Just keep your eyes on the horizon. And if you're going to protest against Trump, make sure somebody has direct contact with the police. You may not like the police or trust the police, but somebody needs direct contact with the police person so that they can immediately say, look, there's a guy with a gun over there. This is happening. Somebody who is in charge of these protests, somebody needs to take charge of the protests and have people who are vigilant out there. Just their only job should be just to be vigilant. This is this could really explode into a crisis. Yeah, I kind of see Trump getting shuffled off stage. Like, you got to get out of here now. Hmm. Hmm. And the people around him, they look enraged. Like the protesters, the people who are against Trump, they just look full. Finally, their rage has surfaced. El Paso, I think, is generally a peaceful place. I think if they don't have a history of crime and all these things, it's pretty low. They're in fairly good condition. In terms of, social relationships aren't as fraught as they would be in another place. But finally, this has just brought the rage to the surface of these people, and they're just so mad. Like, I get the feeling he's just got to leave. The optics on it are so bad that he's just going to be taken out, and he's going to be so angry. He's just going to be so angry that it didn't work out. It's all the media's fault. And now he's got to go to, Ohio and do the same thing again, and he's just dreading it. They're even reconsidering Ohio. Like, that went so badly, don't even bother, because it'll just be another protest that inspires more hatred and danger and enmity. Look, there's the other thing. Trump is losing it. He is losing his grip. He's losing his ability to manipulate people via tweet. He's on the verge of just total, just I don't know what to do. Kind of, he'll just tread the water. He's just thinking of sneaky ways, like tricky ways to win. That's what he's got going for him. And he knows that he's facing prison when he gets out of office. He is going to do anything to win this election. And he is going to try. He will try to get Russian help. He'll try to get help from anyone. He will manipulate in any way that he can. But he's just running out of options. There aren't that many more people willing to help. The society around him is really kind of getting wise to these tricks of his. Everybody's watching Moscow Mitch and others to make sure this election's fair. I've been told by other psychics that it won't be, that they will really try to mix it up. So that's what we need to be vigilant about. Yeah, I see people throwing things at Trump, like Rotten Tomatoes, right? So, yeah, take heart. Again, as we end the session here, everybody just, spend a little moment of your time. Just bring into your heart the love for those people and the families and friends of those who have been shot and murdered by white supremacists in our society. Just try to get away from the anger that you probably feel in regard, and just bring love and compassion into your heart. And maybe it helps to imagine those people there and imagine them if you don't know what they look like, and just send your love and affection to those people. Understand that, many people, they passed over to the other side, but the people who are remaining are the ones who are truly suffering, the ones who have witnessed this. They'll be traumatized for the rest of their lives. Send your love to them and your compassion and your support from your heart. I also would ask you to do the same thing for those people at the border. They're living in a horrible, horrible condition. And let me also say that I'm really proud of the way that Americans who are reacting to this have reacted to this. I think it is time to get angry. Maybe you saw a video I did a little while ago, because I got really angry at this airline company, Jetstar, who essentially ripped me off. One thing I hope you take from it is it's time to fight back. Okay, if you're getting ripped off, see what you can do to get your money back, and don't quit. This is symbolic of corporations ripping us off. If you're getting mad at your local politicians because they're not doing what they're supposed to do, you have to go there and we have to protest like the people in El Paso are protesting. Keep this in mind, that acting in this way is good. I'm also really impressed by how everybody on the left has been peaceful. The left has not categorized people and say, all white males are bad and they're all like this. Nobody has gone there. For the most part, I haven't seen none of the reaction that Trump wanted us to do, where we start becoming unfair and we start generalizing about people. This is really amazing to see. If you're a minority in American culture, you have plenty to be angry about, right? Especially if you're, double minority, like you're a woman and you're Hispanic, all these things. You might be very angry too if you're a white male like myself. You might have experienced bad things in your life too. So don't be left out. But I'm really, really impressed that this whole body of people has reacted peacefully, intelligently, but with force. That is something. We did not take Donald Trump's bait, right? And that's what he thought he was going to get away with. So that's another thing that we really want to be proud of. And, if you get the chance, you might not necessarily agree with the politician who's speaking about this, even if they're progressive or lefty or something like that. Be sure to praise them and say, I really appreciate the work that you're doing. It wasn't easy to oppose guns when you oppose them. That will be a great way to help by looking at some of the positives. And I hope we're looking at the positives right now, is that your reaction, the way that you're viewing these things, it's really to be commended. People are moving forward and giving a lot of themselves over these issues. So be sure to say to yourself, I'm doing the right thing. It's not easy, but I'm doing the right thing, and I'm not being violent, and I'm not blaming one group of people, and I'm doing this out of my heart, not to see how it's good for me, but how it's good for all of us. And that is really something to be proud of. So I just want to thank everybody watching. Insofar as you reacted, you've stayed engaged, you've acted in a peaceful, heart-centered way, you should be very proud of yourself. And when you look at your life, I don't know if you believe in afterlife or not, but when you look at your life, this is the kind of thing that you're going to see and be proud of. Even if that's, when you're very old and you're looking at your history of your life, this is the time that you're going to be proud of. Even if what you do is very small, in your own opinion, it matters. It really matters how you act. And that is what you're going to look at. That's what the future is going to look at when they evaluate, us. They're going to have all this Facebook material to look at. They're going to know, what you thought, what you did, what you believed. They're going to know. It's all a record. And it's sort of like the record of your life that's written. If you've ever heard of the Akashic record, this is a really important point. Whether you succeed or fail in your endeavors, the point is that you try, and you tried from the heart. So take courage and take some pride in this, all right? So you guys, thanks so much for watching. I will see you again next week at this time. For me, it's Wednesday morning, but for you guys, I think it's mostly night on Tuesday. Be sure to send me your questions if you have them, along with some notification of your $7 donation to a progressive cause. And thanks everybody for watching. Bye-bye. Thanks, guys. Take care.